To our first guest for today, and the hustle and bustle of the morning commute has shifted to the shuffle in the slippers from the bed to the workstation. More and more people are joining the Great Resignation and dipping their toes into the freelance pool, with an overwhelming number of these being creatives. Jasmine Ram has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to pricing and helping both new and seasoned creative entrepreneurs answer that burning question: how do I set my prices? How much am I worth? TICKER. Welcome to TICKER Insight, Jasmine, I should say.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really good to be out.
It's good to have people in studio. I always say that. It's great to have that one-on-one, when you're actually in person. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you offer, what you've seen, and basically, what is a creative, do you think, when I highlighted that in the intro?
Yeah, so I personally define a creative as anyone who solves a problem in a non-traditional way.
Okay.
So generally we are taught from a very young age, if you start with this and then go to this and then go to this, this solves the problem. But a creative person with a creative brain is a very gifted person who can kind of go, but what about this? But what about that? And tries to solve a problem in a non-traditional way. So that can be by painting a picture, that can be by doing a killer spreadsheet. Like, it can be whatever it ends up being, as long as it solves the problem in a non-traditional way.
That is one of the best breakdowns of a creative I've ever heard.
Excellent.
But let's talk about pricing our
Yeah.
creatives, and slash if you're someone out there in the gig economy and you're like, I'll do that job, and then you end up doing it for free, or as we've all done in the past. Well, not all of us, but yeah, I've definitely sold myself short. Yeah,
most definitely. And it's something that in the moment we sit there and we go, oh my goodness, why me? What have I done wrong? Or how is this only happening to me? It's actually not as unique of a problem as you may think of it. And it can also be something that can be solved pretty quickly. And that's by taking a step back, reassessing the situation and going, actually, is that worth my time? Is that worth my effort, my energy, my output? And am I bringing to the problem the perfect solution? Because we can sit there and go, okay, this dollar worth is my time. This is how much it is to have me solve that problem time-wise. But if you can flip the script and go, well, how much would the client be willing to pay, or how much would this be worth if this problem didn't exist and I was the solution to that problem? And it can be a really good mind shift, not only for yourself, but also for the client, because when we charge for our time, we're entering the arena on two really differing outcomes and aims. The client wants it done fast and they want to keep it under budget. And you want to spend your time, you don't want to feel rushed. And you also want to create a really good quality product. So if we're going and starting to go, well, how much is my time worth? We could probably change the conversation to, well, what is it worth to the client to have a solution to their problem?
It's an incredible way to think about it, and I'm wishing I'd met you several years ago. But I guess once you know the price, how often should you revisit that pricing? There's like a business element to this, and there's a few things you need to learn. I suppose it's one thing to paint a really nice picture, but marketing yourself and,
Absolutely. I would say revisiting it every time that something majorly shifts in your business. So if you end up, I do tend to find that the perfect creative that it's time for them to revisit their pricing is when they are burnt out, when they are too busy, when they are finding that they are taking on too many things that just make them not happy. It's a crazy concept, stick with me, but you actually get to enjoy what you're doing while you do it and get paid. It's not as far-fetched as one might think.
So there's the work you do sort of help people unpack what's required of them or what they should be, it's one thing to be like, I'm a camera operator, but what about petrol and, all those things that you need to consider as well. Is that kind of where you help out?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of creatives in different capacities, but my main one is, well, let's all take a step back. Let's take a moment and go, well, what is our cost of doing business? And that should be across the board of no matter if you are a creative or not, you should know what your cost of business is each year and year on year, so at least you're covering yourself. And then you start going, well, what makes me happy? What solutions do I have? And what problems do my potential clients have that I can kind of marry them up and start almost playing a round of Snap I have this solution to this problem. Let's work together.
I love that so much. So I guess my next question is, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see creatives make when it comes to the price they put on the skills?
Yeah, from a really young age, we are taught that if you start browsing any kind of shopping centre, or go to your local Target or Kmart and you pick out a number that's on a price tag, the first thing we think is, can I afford that? Is that worth it to me? But when it comes to pricing your own services, you need to start realising that that's not coming out of your pocket. You're not paying the bill, so don't charge like you're the one paying the bill. And because you might actually be making a really big mistake in that you're shortchanging not only your ability, but you're making some really big assumptions about your client. Say, for instance, you're charging something out at $300, but the client had in their mind $1,000. Instead of going, well, I'm going to be the cheaper option, hopefully I get the job, why don't you rise to the occasion, work out where the value that you can add is, and then go, well, how about this? How about if I solve this problem and then 3 other problems and you've gotten a massive better deal? I
like the psychological sort of aspect that you're coming to this confidence, the empowerment that you're kind of bringing into this. So I guess my last question is, what impact did the pandemic have on all these freelancers that maybe would come to you and look for assistance? And I guess if people do need a hand and they want to connect with you, where should they be heading?
Yeah, sure. So I actually believe the pandemic was... Don't hurt me. I actually think it was a really good thing because it pushed us and forced us to realize that creative problems are really out there. Like there's problems that are out there that didn't exist yesterday. And if you were going to be sitting there and going, let's go 2 years back at the very start of March and going, you know what, you should start up a mask business that has all of your illustrations on it. And someone will be like, why would I buy that? So you're having all these new problems that pop up that a creative can solve with their unique flavor sensation that they're able to bring to the table. So these are the sort of things that I teach on the daily. I share them a lot on Instagram, very active on Instagram because I feel like that's where a lot of my tribe is. We're visual learners, it's what we do. So I am on Instagram, I'm your pricing queen, but then I also have my online website, which is Easy as Pie Pricing, because pricing is something that all of us can come to the table, share the meal, and actually learn from each other.
Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us in studio and sharing your insight into this space. You've done it so well and so concisely, and I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Always happy to come back to the table.